Gosselin twins, Jon and Kate, rose to fame as reality TV stars while entertaining an eager audience of cameras with their 8 children. However, behind the scenes, there was more activity than just work charts and fake smiles. Now, after a long and painful separation, Jon Gosselin is opening up about his feelings toward Kate, their children, and fame. Claims of abuse and total separation are among the new details that have shocked everyone. This begs the disturbing question: what transpired at the Gosselin residence? The meteoric climb of Jon and Kate +8, a regular couple from a Pennsylvania suburb, became famous in the early 2000s, long before the advent of social media. Not even Jon and Kate Gosselin could be considered performers. They remained silent. They were helpless. Even more intriguing, though, was the fact that they possessed an entire army of children. Everyone was taken aback when Kate announced to the world that she had delivered sextuplets only 4 years after having twins, a family of 10, practically in a single night. It quickly gained attention from the media. Their 2005 show, Surviving Sextuplets and Twins, aired on the Discovery Health Channel. A second one was justified because the special attracted a large audience. One of TLC's most well-known and divisive reality shows, Jon and Kate +8, was greenlit that same year. A house with 8 small children looked strange and chaotic, so naturally, people were interested. As Kate ensured that the children wore uniforms, onlookers watched as Jon prepared lunches for them. They also witnessed the couple's many failed attempts to remain a couple. The show offered an almost voyeuristic glimpse into a family that was precariously balanced between disintegration and resilience. Behind all the charisma and endearment, though, was something else. A family enterprise was taking shape. Book deals, speaking engagements, and a home renovation were among the first brand deals to roll in. The media gushed over Kate to the point that she graced the covers of several publications. As they gained more and more fans, though, their romance appeared more staged and less genuine. Kate came across as more domineering, and Jon as more distant. On camera, despite this, Jon and Kate +8 was a huge financial success, and TLC had no intention of letting it go. Faults in the facade. The tightly scripted narrative was effective for some time. Mother Kate was the methodical type. The little anxious dad, Jon, was the goofball. Cute and endearing, the kids were a joy to cheer for. However, the weaknesses quickly became apparent, particularly to those who were closely observing. Many parenting groups and websites commented on Kate's severe demeanor. In front of the children, she frequently commanded attention from Jon or placed blame on him. Her admirers debated online whether she was merely a controlling mother attempting to maintain order or whether she was actually nasty. There were significant changes to the couple's on-screen dynamic by 2008. They were not very affectionate. Deals were struck during the discussions. Jon didn't appear enthusiastic and wasn't particularly into shooting. However, Kate began to excel at her tasks and was prepared to take action. Some speculated that she may have begun to view the show as a personal brand, with Jon serving merely as an add-on. Following that, images were captured by the cameras. At a bar in Reading, Pennsylvania, Jon was spotted enjoying himself with women in their 20s at the beginning of 2009. He was not accompanied by Kate and the children. A whirlwind of accusations of infidelity ensued. He was depicted by the tabloids as an irresponsible father who was seeking a return to his younger self after being tired of fame. Kate, meanwhile, played the role of the wounded wife who is fighting for the survival of her home and company. Behind the scenes, the couple's marriage had already crumbled, and they had been living apart for months. That was the secret the press was unaware of back then. According to Jon's subsequent statements, by the 4th season, they were merely getting along. By TLC's knowledge of the marriage's disintegration, he said, the network instructed them to maintain appearances for the sake of viewers and sponsors. According to some industry insiders, TLC was making too much money to allow the fairy tale to publicly crumble. After major shows had aired, the couple allegedly received advice from the network to hold off on announcing their split. They broke the news of their breakup in an episode airing in June 2009. The era was peculiar. Instead of ducking or dodging the cameras, Kate continued to charge ahead. After Jon was completely removed from the title and the show's content, TLC rebranded the show as Kate Plus 8. It was more than simply a name change. That was a total loss. Not only had Kate let him down, but so had the machine they had built together, according to Jon. He claimed Kate had imposed her will on the plot, the show, and eventually his children's lives, cutting him off from decision-making at every turn. This wasn't your average breakup. The beginning of a heated argument between relatives was broadcasted to a nation's television audience. It was a difficult split. During an otherwise typical family-friendly episode of Jon and Kate Plus 8 on June 22, 2009, the news broke. However, this time, it wasn't for a birthday celebration or a trip to the store for back-to-school supplies. Across from each other on the couch, Jon and Kate sat rigidly. Months of quiet, rage, and legal wrangling were also present to keep them apart, as were the pillows. "Just not good for the kids for us to be fighting in front of them," Kate said, her expression betraying her emotions, as Jon turned away from the camera and announced, "Kate and I have decided to split up." Astonishment spread. However, the reality was that the couple's closest friends and family members knew the news had been building for a while, and that going public on national television wasn't a bad decision. The breakup episode allegedly was scheduled to air alongside one of the most popular shows of the season, according to multiple sources. Whether it was TLC's decision, Kate's decision, or something they both worked on together remains unclear. However, the results were immediately apparent. The tabloids camped out outside their Wernersville, Pennsylvania home within days. Child advocacy organizations began to question the morality of airing a television show about a dysfunctional family with 8 children. Despite their shared history of being swept up in the mayhem, Jon and Kate have become mortal enemies. A public altercation involving custody, the December 2009 divorce was more than simply a legal separation. In the end, a custody battle was decided. Even though Jon and Kate had to divide up parenting responsibilities at the time, Kate made sure that all 8 children spent most of their time at home. According to Jon, he felt he was forcibly removed from their lives, and that Kate manipulated the legal system with her wealth and connections from TL. Many witnessed his resistance. Jon went on a media tour in 2010 and 2011 where he complained on talk shows and gossip sites because he believed Kate was emotionally exploiting their children for her own fame. He went so far as to petition the court to halt production of Kate Plus 8. He said to Larry King Live, "These are kids, not actors. That's not entertainment. That's exploitation, that they're being filmed under stress and in the middle of a personal crisis," according to her. Although faced with pressure, Kate remained resolute, citing the show as a source of income for her and her children. Carelessness and unpredictability were adjudged by Jon's attorneys. She claimed he refused to co-parent because he preferred to have all the power. At one point, things became so out of hand that Kate reported Jon's abduction of the children while he was on an extended trip to the authorities. The incident demonstrated how poisonous and antagonistic their relationship had grown, even though no charges were ever filed. A public opinion, financial resources, and control, the crux of their conflict was authority over the children, the plot, and the funds. Kate took great care when branding. Even after they broke up, she maintained her charming persona as a working single mother who calmly navigates a chaotic environment. Dancing with the Stars was her 2010 reality show appearance. Daytime talk shows have featured her and her many parenting books since then. However, it appeared as though Jon had a tumble. He went out to clubs, met women much younger than him, and got a lot of tattoos. according to paparazzi photos. He allegedly allowed his fame to consume him due to his lack of care. However, Jon later admitted that this public fall had been staged. After he spoke out, TLC sued him for breach of contract and allegedly covered Kate's legal fees and public relations fees. In his words, it was like David and Goliath facing off. It was he, the father, who had been banished, silenced by non-disclosure agreements, and ultimately defeated in court. The fact that Kate is associated with TLC, according to some in the know, gave her a significant advantage on her side. She had a media empire worth millions of dollars, as well as directors, attorneys, and producers. Everyone thought Jon was easily hurt because of the cameras and the tabloids. After the divorce, Jon claimed years later that he had lost all of his show earnings, but Kate and the kids were still very wealthy. Allegedly, Kate had used funds from the children's trust funds to cover her legal expenses, according to him. People were enraged for a while over these claims, but they were never proven. The children caught in the crossfire. As the drama between Jon and Kate unfolded in courtrooms, tabloids, and talk shows, it became evident that the true losers were not the adults involved, but rather their children. There were 8 children smack dab in the thick of things. No one asked to be famous. The Gosselin kids, twins Kara and Maddie, and sextuplets Colin, Hannah, Joel, Leah, Alexis, and Aiden, were born into the media frenzy. They ended up with boom mics strung over their beds and production schedules that dictated when they needed to hit specific goals, from their first steps to their birthdays, and even their times of punishment or tears. Millions of people witnessed it all. As soon as the split occurred, the cameras began rolling. Experts and critics were concerned about the long-term effects of growing up on reality TV, particularly in the wake of such a public scandal, despite Kate's assurances that filming would only occur when the kids wanted it to. The children's recollections are still vague and likely will remain so for some time. How much of their formative years were shaped by parental arguments and TV teams? Love and power, do they think there's a boundary? Assuming they ever feel comfortable enough to speak, which version of events will they recount? In recent years, Maddie and Kara have both generously shared glimpses into their lives through thoughtfully worded posts. An indication of the strain in their relationship was Maddie's 2023 TikTok comment in which she and her brothers claimed they weren't obligated to accept someone simply because they were a parent. Reading between the lines, it seems like the breakup might be more than just a matter of circumstances. It could be deeply emotional and endure for quite some time. At least in front of an audience, Jon continues to maintain optimism. In numerous interviews, he has expressed his desire to reunite with his children, explain his perspective, offer apologies if needed, and begin anew. The decision-making authority has shifted from the court to the children, the majority of whom are now adults. Jon continued to voice his opinions despite all of this. In 2023, Jon makes his long-awaited debut. An emotional and candid interview given by Jon Gosselin in July 2023 was widely perceived as the last straw by many. After years of remaining silent, he was exhausted. Now, nearly 15 years after the premiere of Jon and Kate +8, he was prepared to reveal the truth, and he didn't mince words. The return of Jon was not seen by many as an attention-getting tactic. It dealt with fury. He broke the silence that had persisted for years due to court orders, public relations spin, and widespread misinformation by telling the press the other side of the story. This followed over 10 years of portrayal as the absent and mentally ill father. Longtime viewers of the Gosselin drama were shocked by what he said. One of the most terrifying pieces of information that Jon divulged was, "I haven't talked to Kate in years." His candor was commendable. There's no co-parenting, Jon stated in the 2023 interview. Nothing came out of their statement. There's no relationship. We don't talk. We don't coordinate. Nothing. The parents of 8 children were completely quiet. everything they tried to mend their relationship, according to Jon, had backfired. According to him, Kate had effectively cut off communication with the majority of his children. Even though Kate remained silent in public, the claims continued to circulate. Had she truly severed all parental and personal links with Jon? In that instance, how does it affect the Gosselin children, who are now adults, but whose broken story continues to haunt them? Updated details regarding Colin's institutional stay. Jon brought up the most distressing topic once again in 2023, Colin's institutional stay, which many people were unaware of until much later. Taking Colin out of the spotlight, according to Jon, isn't about caring. It's punishment. That he had too many questions, she clarified. Jon informed Kate that he had confronted her. She didn't deal with that, so she sent him away. Subsequently, court records revealed that Jon had exerted considerable effort to gain custody of Colin, and his efforts ended when Kate failed to appear in court. He described the ordeal as emotionally taxing and said that his discovery of Colin crushed his heart. As a result of the secrecy surrounding medical records, it was difficult to verify the claim that he was skinny, scared, and suspicious, like someone who knew adults weren't trustworthy. Nonetheless, this assertion sparked much debate. If confirmed, this would constitute a severe misuse of parental authority. Regardless of the veracity of the stories, the reality remains that a father was unaware of his son's whereabouts for an extended period of time. In addition, that son no longer lives with his mother or any of his brothers. He now lives with him full time. Following his stay in the hospital, Colin has made some nebulous and unsettling remarks on social media regarding the trauma he experienced and the potential emotional damage it may have caused him. Kate has not publicly made up with Colin, and he is still speaking to Jon, despite the fact that she has rejected all allegations of abuse through attorneys. Colin allegedly told her she was wrong after she pleaded with him to forgive her. But she would never say anything like this for fear of looking foolish. It wasn't the first occasion she disregarded her children's rules. In 2023, Jon started another scandal by accusing Kate of stealing from the kids' trust funds, which led to more accusations of financial mismanagement. According to court documents from a custody hearing in 2019, Kate removed over $100,000, 0 cents, from the trust accounts of 2 of her children till the kids turned 18. This money was supposed to stay put. Kate justified her actions at the time by saying she needed the money to survive and would pay back the loan. However, Jon stated that he had not seen any evidence of repayment as of 2023. More evidence, in his mind, that Kate had squandered her children's inheritance on her own legal battles and extravagant lifestyle. That money was meant to help them in the future. Specifically, it was not meant for a lawyer, unsuitable for a personal chef, not for an agent, Jon informed The Sun. Others questioned whether Kate was truly that desperate, using the money from TLC and her public speaking engagements to drain her children's bank accounts, while some defended her by claiming it was difficult to raise 8 children alone. Jon, in his post-fame life, was anything but the party boy he'd become famous for in the 2010 S. In contrast, 2023 was a year of relative quiet, contemplation, and family devotion. His family, a daughter Hannah and son Colin, enjoyed a simple life in Pennsylvania, he said, and he worked in information technology. The pursuit of fame was no longer central to his ambitions, but he insisted he wanted nothing more than to reconnect with her. I love all of my kids and want them to know it,